and I just dance. I'm sorry.
All good.
It is just my state of being.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hold on.
Hold on one sec. Doing my things.
Right now,
haven't started yet.
Should make sure it's up, huh?
No, looks like it is. Good. I'm just going to turn myself on mute. There you go. It's up. All right. Hello. Hi, Dana. Okay.
Hi, Dana.
Oh. Wow. This is really weird. I've not had to do this before. So, welcome. We're going to be, lots of people. Hello. We're going to be talking about goal setting, probably of the bookish and possibly channel variety today. So we might go around and introduce ourselves first. So, Shay, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm Shay. My channel's Shay Geeks Out, and this is where I geek out about all sorts of things, primarily books, manga, and journaling.
Hello, I'm Izzy. I'm trying to take a picture and put it on Instagram, so I was not prepared. Like a great guest host on a thing. I'm on Happy for Now, and yeah, I talk about romance books and a little bit of manga. Thanks to Shay. She ruined me.
You're welcome.
Am I next or is it Crystal?
Take your pick.
Pikachu, Tamika.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tamika from Library of Tomes. I obsess over Dean Winchester and I talk about romance books. Specifically Brianna Hale. Honestly, that's all I talk about.
Well, yeah, you got to be honest here. You just talk about Brianna Hale. That's it. That's all you talk about.
And Izzy.
Oh,
Yeah,
and Izzy,
true.
yeah.
You always drop me in a video too. Yes, that's true.
Well, I'm Laura, and my channel is Laura's Library Card, and I read kind of a variety, but mostly focus on romance, and happy to be here to talk about 2021 goals.
I'm Crystal. My channel is Crystal's Bookish Life, and I pretty much only read romance, at least right now.
Most of you will probably know you're on my channel. I'm Steph, and I'm learning how to do all this tech stuff. So if I look like I'm distracted, that's what's going on. Because one of my goals this year was to learn and have a live stream. So I'm ticking that off pretty early, which is nice and exciting.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. So we've got sort of a list of questions that we're going to go through and have a chat about goal setting for 2021, and we'd love for people to share their answers in the comments as well. So first of all, I suppose, are you a goal setter? Which is, I know not everyone is, or are you a partial goal setter, or I don't know.
I'm definitely a goal setter.
I'm a
Whether I achieve those goals or not, I'm
achievable
still a
goal setter. So I don't set goals I don't think I can achieve.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm very similar to
that's
that.
me
I
too.
love
I'm like
having
a
goals.
low bar
Yeah.
kind of person.
Well, I mean, I may have like a 3 to 5 year goal that's a little less achievable, but I feel like I could shift those down. Whereas I feel like when you set a goal for a year, it's like, no, I have to do this. So yes, I would read until like 11:59 at night to make sure I hit my reading goal. That's just the kind of person I am.
I set goals I will absolutely never achieve and then forget to look at them until the end of the year. And then I set new goals that are exactly the same.
We are here to help, Tamika.
Love consistency.
Yeah, I love that because this year I set 2 conflicting goals because Goodreads is a completely separate goal to anything else that I do. And so I've got 2 conflicting goals. And yeah, I know that they're conflicting and I'm putting them in here and I'll just deal with it. But yeah, I set goals, but I try and set them so that they're achievable in terms of what I can do. But yeah, they're subject to change if they need to. I'm not precious about maintaining everything if it's not that kind of year. I think if nothing else, last year was a really good example of that. Hi, Stella.
Yeah.
Okay. So I suppose one of the big questions is how do you choose or decide what your goals are going to be for the year, whether they're reading goals or channel goals, I suppose?
So for me, the way I look at it, I've had my channel 5 going on 6 years now. So I've kind of had a few years to get things settled in how I like it for channel and bookish goals. So typically I take what I loved from the previous year and kind of amplify that, either working on finishing a series that I loved or more rereads or more manga or whatever it is for me that year. And then I take the things that I feel overwhelmed by, and then I either set a goal to kind of tackle it, like my physical TBR is large right now. So that's one of my goals for this next year is to take some of that and to not buy more than I've read in the month. I think was it Steph that said that was one of your goals as well, or was it someone else? I saw someone.
I don't know if I said it, but it is one of my goals. I try and keep my physical.
It was on a goals video I watched like today, so I can't remember whose it was because I watched more YouTube today than I normally do. But yeah, I like those things that I felt overwhelmed by and find a way to like tackle it or conquer it with a goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I like to look at the trends like of the previous year. Like, what did I do? So like my steady trend for like the last 3 years has been hitting 200 books a year. So now that I do it, it's easy-ish. There are years. I mean, you never know. But so that's just like my baseline goal. And then whatever I go over, I'm thrilled by. And then like channel stuff, yeah, I just kind of focus on the things I enjoyed doing, and I want to do more of that every year. Versus like, I mean, I like to set channel goals like for subscribers, but I feel like you don't have control to an extent, right? To what
I always set a loose one to double my subscribers from the previous year.
Yeah,
that's kind of the benchmark. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where that's a lot harder now.
Yeah,
so I probably won't reach that this year, but that's fine. That's my stretch goal. We'll call it that.
Those are the goals I struggle with is like channel stuff because I'm like, well, what do I really want to do? What's achievable? And what's like you're smoking something wild out there, and you're like that's impossible. That would be like being like I'm gonna hit 100,000 subscribers in a year. Like that, no, that's impossible.
Well, you had your goals video where you thought like was it hitting 200 was pie in the sky? Here you are like
1,000 was my pie in the sky last year.
Oh yeah, and then you're like at almost 1,500 by the end of the year.
But there's no knowing that this year would be replicable in that capacity, you know what I mean, at that growth rate. So, yeah. But I just try to, I don't know. I try to pick things I did last year and liked, or like this year, I spent a lot. I know I bought a lot of books, and I don't have a full estimate on it. So, like, one of my goals is to know how much I spend on books, and I'm terrified.
I'm keeping better track of that this year too.
I'm so scared to know that number, guys. So scared.
Yeah. I would say my goal choosing is very similar to what you guys have said. For my books, I've kind of looked at my Goodreads for the last couple of years and kind of picked a number that I thought was achievable, but like also a push, not just like I read 10. But for my channel, I really didn't set very many channel goals just because I'm enough. And you guys like, let's get loose. And I'm like, too many people listening to my channel. Like, we're good. So I set few achievable goals, and then I feel good when I accomplish those. Yeah. Intentional and realistic is a good phrasing.
So I try to, when I set goals, like I try to have goals that are easily achievable so that I can like cross it off or mark it off or feel good about it. Something that I know I'm going to get that is maybe just a little bit of a stretch from what I'm doing right now, something that I'm enjoying doing. I try not to make too many goals that are around numbers, like number of books read or number of things like that, just because that tends to stress me out a lot and I don't like numbers, and so I don't do that. And then I kind of do what Izzy does. I look at the trends, or mostly what I do when I make goals is I think of what am I enjoying most right now? What was something that brought me the most joy? And I think specifically with reading and BookTube, because this is just a passion project. This is just a hobby. This is a happy place. And I don't want that to change. So when I make goals, I want to be specific about what is bringing me the most joy and how can I do more of that.
Sarah J. Maas. Sorry, Patty.
Charles, is your goal to read more Sarah J. Maas this year? I need to know. Burning question.
Easy because we love you, Charles.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Charles.
So when every year that I've made goals, I've never achieved any of them except my reading goal because I'm insane and I'm over here like, I'm going to read all these books. I'm going to finish 20 series. I'm going to read all the books off my TBR. And then I get to the end of the year and I'm like, what did I set my goals for again? So I just set the like most unrealistic stuff. But I always set The Goodreads goal is the one that I always set, and I always hit that one, but that's literally it. So
Those are good days.
I'm a mess.
Yeah, I've never really said anything subscriber wise because like I said, I think that's really hard to control and hard to sort of even work towards sometimes because it is really dependent on what's going on. I usually set mine around number of videos that I can put out in a week. That I can maintain.
Yeah, I like to do consistency goals for my channel a lot. I always find that rewarding to be like, oh wow, I made all these things this year. And then I'm like,
that's so rewarding.
I need a life.
and even things like being able to reply to comments within a timely manner, because that can get away from me easily. I know I've been really bad at that in the past.
But see, I get kind of the other way sometimes where I get like obsessive about checking to make sure I haven't missed anybody. So I almost have to like check myself and say, okay, I only answer comments from like this time to this time and this time to this time. So I only check it like twice a day. I'm still bad at that and I'm still working on that. But that's something
trying to implement that for myself.
I'm trying to be better.
Like
I
on
still
your
like
phone.
respond to them all, but
I wonder. Oh, my friend commented. I have to go respond right now. I'm like,
right. That's kind of how I am.
1 minute after.
I think I just want to take Studio off my phone because it's too distracting that way. Honestly,
I did that in October, and it was. I didn't realize how often I went and looked at it.
Yeah.
I'm really funny about putting things like that.
I didn't know you could have
phone.
Studio on your phone.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, you can put Studio on your phone.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be putting that on my phone, just like I don't put my work email on my phone. I'm just like, my phone is my phone and I don't want to know anything about it. So, we've got people talking about Goodreads goals and reading goals. I think that one's really, I don't know. Goodreads, I find, I don't know. I have a complicated
love-hate relationship with
Goodreads is a bitch. She's out here telling me I'm 1 month behind. We are 4 days into the year. Calm down. Calm down.
So I think, like my standard, I do set a Goodreads goal, but it's always 52 books, regardless of what I'm planning on reading in the year, which is why I've got conflicting goals, because I don't actually need Goodreads telling me I'm behind on anything. So, hello to everyone else who has popped in. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the chat.
I'm so bad.
It is. It really is. So I'm just trying to limit my good. It's good for like me just keeping a track of and a list of everything. I like the end of year picture overview of all the covers. I like that part of it. But everything else, I'm like, All right.
What you guys were saying about
no, go, Laura.
Sorry, go. Oh, I was just saying that, like, when you guys were talking about trying to make more consistency, that's kind of the only goal I've really set for myself this year was consistency, better tracking, and consistency, better uploading and planning, just kind of like organizational goals. And I'm finding already 4 days in, I'm using a lot of like timers. I'll set a timer and be like, I'm going to work on this in
there is
minutes,
nothing
or
wrong
I'm
with
going
that.
to like
honestly, a great way to do that too is to like have somebody's productivity stream on in the background, and so they have the timers for you. And so you just work while it's quiet, and then you take a pause, enjoy some fun banter with whoever's you're watching, and then you jump back on. Usually they sprint 2 to 3 times in one of those, and they're like 2 to 3 hours long depending. And I found those really helpful for me personally. So maybe try those if you haven't.
I do Pomodoro technique for myself a lot, where you do like the 15, 25s and then breaks. ADHD brain though, like I have to like make shit a game, otherwise I won't do it. So I'm like, how fast can I clean the bathroom? And
I feel like I need to set more goals for my adulting life than anything else, because I think I managed
for sure
the reading one better, because I put off everything else. I'm like, but I could do this, or I could read. I want to read.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting when I go back to work. So because I will have even less time. All right. So I know some of you have put out 2021 goals videos already, but what are some of the goals that you've set that you're excited to tackle this year?
For me, it's buddy reading more. That was one of the things that I did a lot in 2020 and really loved. So I want to buddy read with a lot more people. And then the other one I think would be a more detailed reviewer, because I love the process of writing a detailed review, but I'm really bad about sitting down to do them. So since I'm already like planning on slowing down my reading pace a bit, I'm taking the time to write the reviews, even though they're not like as long or as in depth as some people go. I mean, I'm not writing a dissertation, but I'm writing 4 to 5 paragraphs on everything I read, and I feel a lot better about that. I feel like I'm giving a better feel of what I've read, and I think it's good. So those are my 2 biggest ones that I'm excited about.
Oh, easy.
You're muted, babe.
Oops. I'm a solid 4-sentence reviewer, and I live for it. I will skim your long reviews. I'll be like, okay. I felt like 2020 just taught me to focus on the things I love even more. So for me, it was just like finding more group reads, buddy reads. I'm trying not to do a ton of readathons actually this year, because I found that they started to put me into slumps by the end of the year. But that too. I'm also a cool start review to come and never coming back to it. But yeah, I mostly just tried to focus on that stuff. So like I'm doing like a Percy Jackson read along. I'm hosting the IID read along, trying to buddy read with people. Like those things are what I want to focus on. And like I realized I enjoyed the most out of my reading last year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The only goal that I am like making myself do this year is reading more diversely. I started doing that last year and like actually took a look at like my reading. So it's the only one I care about. I want to be at least 30-70, but my goal is to actually be more like 35-65 with more authors. I'm trying to do more authors of color just in general, because I looked at my reading from last year and I was like, that's just not going to fly this year. Like it's so bad.
That's one thing that I didn't necessarily like publicly talk about, because I have in my head where I want to be, but I don't want that number to push me. I want to still pick up what I'm enjoying, but I am making a more concerted effort to purchase and pick up books by authors of color. And, I'm trying not to request ARCs, because I feel like those should be left for Own Voices reviewers, because those are going to be the reviews that are most important. So that's why I don't request a lot of like Black author review copies. Like if I'm super dead interested in it, I'll still request it, but I try to wait and then request it later so that Own Voices reviewers get a first chance at it. Like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm weird that way, but I don't want to take a review copy away from an Own Voices reviewer.
No, I get that. I will say for anybody trying to read diversely, just start diversifying where you get your recs from at the end of the day, and that will 100% change how you're reading. I get my recs from all kinds of people on Twitter. If you need people, let me know. I'll send them to you. Like I can tell you who I look at. And that has helped me immensely. That was like, it's been like a 3-year journey, and I'm close to a 50-50 split. So it takes a while.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of really great recommendations on Instagram as well, particularly for upcoming releases and things just to keep on your radar. So I've been trying to keep track of those as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm most excited about, I want to make sure that I'm absolutely reviewing indie author books on both Goodreads and Amazon. I want to make sure that I'm doing that.
I'm really bad about getting the Amazon reviews up. I need to be better at that.
I really do. And I feel like Kindle kind of makes it easy for you when you're reading on your Kindle. When you finish it, it gives you the option to review it right there. So I've started trying to do that for indie authors that I'm reading. I definitely want to read more diversely too. I set my goal kind of low to read at least 2 diverse books a month, but I felt like that was a number that I could for sure fit into a month, and that way it would be easier for me to track. And also I don't read like, a good reading month for me is like 14 books, which 2 out of 14 is still not great, but 2 out of 10 is like still not great. Yeah. But yeah.
But that's like your bare minimum. If you read more than that in a month, that's totally fine too.
Right, but I feel like just having that as a monthly number in my head, it's going to make me more aware of the books that I'm choosing too. I definitely want to try new authors too. Like I have a monthly goal to read at least one new to me author for that month too. So I want to like I don't necessarily want to make my reviews longer. I want to get better at really being succinct about how I feel about the book and not ramble, which I kind of feel like I have a tendency to do. So
yeah,
Same.
I'm
Same.
I'm a bit the same. I sort of set a minimum number of diverse books that I wanted to read per month and put it as that it's the minimum. It's what I want to at least hit, if not exceed. And I think those are probably the ones that I am most excited about trying to explore. Because it forces me to look for new authors and to find, as Izzy said, recommendations from different audiences and to really pay attention.
Yeah.
Everything else is just what it always is. It's to read and to try and get through some backlist titles and things like that. But I think that the diverse reads is the really big one. Hi, Megan. I'm really behind.
Yeah, I just
love Charles's comment.
Which one was it?
The
the
bottom
review
one.
one. Yeah.
Oh, the bottom one. Yep.
Writing reviews is super important for author algorithms. So if you want to support an author, the best thing you can do is write a review for them. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. The more reviews they have, the more publishers will see them, especially if they're indie, and the more just other readers will see them. The more Goodreads will push them up in their algorithm to recommend, things like that. So writing reviews is more important than people really understand. Because us as a consumer, we might not necessarily go and read reviews before we pick up a book, but publishers and authors rely on those. So we have to make sure that we're supporting authors that way. And if you want Amazon and Goodreads to start recommending indie books, those reviews need to happen.
Yeah, I would say it
And
does
I, as
help
a reader,
authors a lot.
use Goodreads review.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go read them after a book usually, or if a book, I do check sometimes if I've been told there's content I need to look for that maybe is a trigger for me, I'll go like skim reviews to find what that is.
And that's also part of my more detailed reviewing. I'm trying to be more like right at the top, put trigger warnings, put them right there in bold. So if anybody has triggers, they're warned before they even get into the review.
Yep.
Because that's usually what they're coming to the review for anymore.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, true.
And Megan's comment, I was the same last year. I think I got so lost in everything else that I was only writing reviews if I had a review copy for it. And yeah, one goal is to sort of do more than that, because it's really important, because and I know I've seen a lot of people talk about it sort of in their end of year wrap-ups and also their 2021 goals, is that even though they might give someone a 1-star review, or they might read a friend who's given it a 1-star review, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same for them. They just want to know what to expect from the book, because you can still find authors or books that you really like, even if people haven't enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, the power of a review, because good
Or
reviews
a
are
hype
great.
book can end up being something that you didn't like Izzy and I
absolutely.
with her Night with the Duke. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
none of us liked it.
Right.
Like,
And
all three of
even-
us that read it, none of us liked
didn't
it.
like it.
And that we were all shocked. I figured at least one of us would end up liking it, most likely me. But I think I'm the one who had the strongest feelings about it by the end. I was just like, I hate this.
It's on a list. I put it on a disappointing list, so
I didn't make a disappointing list. I don't do those. I don't like to live
I
in
love
But
it.
roasting books.
I
Even from a
And I will
purely
watch you
selfish
roast
point of
because I
view.
love you. But it's just, I don't like putting that energy out there for me. I'll consume other people's content with it. It's just not my thing.
I complained for 25 minutes about my least favorite books of the year, and it was my favorite video I filmed while I was off work for like 2 weeks.
There you go.
What were you saying, Crystal?
And I feel like if you have like especially if you're a booktuber, so if anybody, I'm fairly new, like I started my channel in August, and I noticed that I was really struggling with talking about books. So writing reviews was super helpful for me when I did my wrap-up, so that I would feel like, okay, I know this book inside and out. I know exactly what I want to talk about. And even when anytime I would recommend a book, I would just look up my review, and then I would be reminded of how I felt about it. So even if you don't really care about the author, you should. But if you just want to help yourself out, I feel like they're very helpful to be able to talk about books if you have a booktube channel.
You know, if you have a booktube channel, another thing you can do for your reviews is if you talk extensively about a book in like a vlog or something, you just give like 1 to 2 sentences, maybe list triggers, and say, if you want my full thoughts, watch this video. So you're promoting your channel while also writing a review. Like,
that's really smart. That's
I do that when I've done like a big manga reading vlog where I do like 8 or 10 at a time. That's how I write those reviews. I'm like, I liked this about it. If you want more details, go here. And it just eases the process a lot.
I was just going to say, on Charles's point about people intentionally rating things lower, I think you can tell when that happens, and I actually don't even look at them. So
okay, but like some of those authors deserve 1 stars. I'm just saying.
Some of them do. But I tend to ignore those ones that you can tell, because it's I find reviews helpful for all the same reasons that everyone has mentioned, but I don't necessarily look at them beforehand. It might be while I'm reading, if I'm concerned something's going to come up and I want to know whether to continue with it or I suppose I tend to use them for that, but I don't spend in-depth time.
Yeah. When I finish a book and I really am in love with it or I really kind of hate it, like I love reading reviews and seeing everybody's different opinions on it. Like that's just a fun time.
I know. I love like when
I totally
I don't like
agree
a book,
with you, Crystal. Yeah.
I want to read all the negative reviews, and I live and I'm like, this is amazing.
I do have a plan to take like my favorite book of last year and to read the 1-star reviews for it. So
I love that. I did that video this year. Mm-hmm. It was fun. That was a very fun and also really enlightening, because like you see things that people hate and you're like, yeah, that's a fair point, you know. Like
one of my favorite reviews I've ever read in my entire life was a 1-star review of a Brianna Hill book, because it was so accurate. I was just like, I can't even argue with anything this person is saying.
Right. And a lot of times 1-star reviews, they're either so skewed because they like have personal feelings about the author or whatever, or they're like legitimately like on point with it. And it's like, yeah, I can't argue with you. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy these points, but I thrived on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy reading.
What is it? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mia.
I'm not in front of you. Go ahead.
Oh my God, fight over it. Jeez.
I definitely enjoy reading the reviews after I finished a book. I think it helps me order my thoughts a bit better. And I might be like done with the book and think, that was 5 stars, it was great. And then I read 2 or 3 reviews. I'm like, good point. Good point. That's a good point. And I lower my own. It's like it helps me critically think of the book I just read. Yeah. And also, I personally don't read as many books as I would like to read. And so I kind of have like a cutoff threshold of rating when I get a recommendation. So I kind of check a little bit ahead of time before I start a book to see if it's something that's going to like meet my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes what I'll do when I can tell that I'm just feeling very emotional about a book, when I'm going to write the review, before I start the review, I'll go and read some of those lower reviews, like 1 and 2-star reviews, to see why people aren't liking it, to see if I agree. And that lets me know if I'm thinking critically about it or if I'm still thinking emotionally about it. So that's just a way to kind of self-check and be like, am I just super emotional about this book? And sometimes I will admit that in my review. It's like, you can say whatever you want about this book, but I love it, and you can't change my mind. Yeah. Like, that happens sometimes, but I admit it right in the review. So
there's personal taste.
That's just a way to kind of like check and see about it. Mm-hmm.
That's where I like draw the line. I feel like, there's personal taste, and there's times where you're like, nah, this is just straight problematic, and there's a big issue here and whatever's happening, and you can still love it and address problematic things. So
and I think that's the thing. You can like something that's problematic as long as you can recognize what's problematic about it and you can talk about it.
100%.
All right. Did I get to everyone, or did we get to everyone with their goals they're excited for? Because I think we got sidetracked by talking about reviews.
Sorry.
But that was everyone's fault.
No, that's good. I think it's a really important discussion to have, and I think it's one that's been popping up more and more frequently. particularly in the last couple of months. So it is really important. But I suppose the next question that we had was, are there any 2020 goals that you have reconfigured or for 2021 that you didn't hit or you wanted to adjust for the new year?
Utilizing the library is the biggest one for me. My buying habits were insane last year. I wasn't able to go into my physical library, so I didn't. And for some reason, my Libby account's not working. I need to go into my library to at least talk it out and figure out why my library card isn't working. And, you know, I need to take a note from Izzy and maybe pay for a different card to give me access to more titles.
Do it. It'll change your life. I'm telling you. I saved $1,800 with my library memberships this year.
Wow, that's impressive.
I mean, if you read digitally and audiobooks.
I mean, I do have Kindle, my Kindle Unlimited and my Audible Plus, and I did use those extensively last year. But it's one of those things where it's like, I need to use my actual library and buy less. That's what I really need to do.
I feel like my biggest thing, I wanted to do more backlist last year, but I'm always a mood reader, but I was extra mood readery 2020. I had no time for shit that was not up my alley or what I wanted, and I just DNF'd or put it back on my want to read shelf for another day. And I think the biggest thing is I just want to make sure I actually maybe tackle the 1,000-some books in my Kindle library. We're not going to talk about them. Yeah,
we'll have to see if any match up so we can buddy read them. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to write them all down. It's going to take me a while.
I got to do that too. And believe me, my Kindle is extensive. I don't even know what that number is right now.
Yeah, that's why I have a self-imposed reading challenge every month just for my Kindle because it's ridiculous.
The only place I read though. Like I read audiobooks and Kindle books. It's bad. There is no reason.
Well, my local library is part of a chain, but they've been renovating it for the last year and a half. So, and with the year that we've had, it's been kind of hard to get things from the library. So hopefully this year, when they reopen, it'll be a little bit easier. What about you, Tamika? Did you have any goals from last year?
I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by Dallas in the background.
And then Pete coming to visit.
I don't remember what my goals were other than to read 100 books. Like when
That's
I say
almost
I
exactly what
random
mine
goals
was.
and then I don't even know what they were, I'm not joking. I have no idea what I even said.
So you literally just gave yourself some goals, yeeted them into the universe, and walked away.
I did make a video. I wrote them on a piece of paper.
But you did make a video.
I don't know where that planner's at.
Okay.
How about you, Laura?
Oh, I didn't really set any definitive 2020 goals. I mean, I always have a Goodreads goal, but I usually set that achievably low. So check. But upon reflection of what I did in 2020, I used 2020 to kind of make my goals this year. And I think my biggest takeaway is to not overcommit myself. I definitely find so many awesome readathons and so many cool buddy reads, and there's this book club and this book club, and I end up being like, well, this book better count for the following 87 prompts because I want to do everything. So I'm gonna get better about that.
Yeah. So I think the only goal, I had a Goodreads goal, but I set it very achievably, is for the last few years, my reading number has gone up a little bit each year. So I think I set my Goodreads goal at 75, but I had in my book journal, I wanted to get 100, and I ended up reading 149 because, last year just read all the things. So that's kind of the only thing. I think last year I wanted to read more nonfiction. I think I read 2 nonfiction books. This year I don't have that goal at all. I don't care about reading nonfiction. I don't want to hear. I don't want to read anything that's realistic. I just want the happy Goodreads this year. So yeah, that's the only thing that I still have a 100 book goal for the year, but hopefully I'll read more.
Yeah, I don't think I've any of my goals. Most of my goals are pretty similar year to year anyway. It's just adjusting for what's coming up. But I think because I stole, no, I didn't steal. I used Shay's lovely bingo bingo board, I came up with some very creative author and backlist title challenges, but nothing that I don't think I pulled forward. Although I suppose
that bingo board's going to be really fun because that's like more specifically pulling into my goals I already wanted to do. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. And
in my attempts to not overcommit myself to things, I was like, I'm going to do the bingo board that Steph makes every month. And I was like, I can't. I was like, I'm going to overcommit myself. So I'm going to see how things go. And then I'm going to be like, okay, I need this 1 month. And then I'm going to do it. But I'm going to like dip in and out of stuff now. Like, I'm just like, I can't keep up. Like, I want to keep up, but I can't keep up. Like, I have to realize I can't keep up.
Yeah. Well, I've tried to keep that one really simple this year. So there's actually, I think there's only 5 actual book prompts on any of the boards, and then you can double them up. And 1 month, I'm going to see if I can try and find one book that fits all of them, because I'm usually need to fill out a bingo board. But
that's a good goal.
But I don't set those challenges based on any particular book. I just had a list of ideas that I wrote down and just throw them into a challenge each month. So, but because I've started reading more on my Kindle, and I suppose the goal from 2020 that's moved over is that I started reading more romance books, which is how I met all of you guys. So that's probably something that I'll continue to do in 2021. But all right, how do you track your goals?
My bullet journal. Was there
no? Absolutely not. No tracking
then
goals.
This year I'm gonna try Izzy's monster spreadsheet.
Good luck.
I know.
I know I'm gonna get It's fine. It's fine. I'll help you set it up. It's cool. I will be live on Saturday setting up my monster spreadsheet. I already tested it and then deleted everything so I could do it live. I'll be doing my spreadsheet again, and I'm expanding it from last year, and my digital bullet journal. That's it. I mean, some goals I have like a content calendar I keep for myself for videos, and I put like some of my like goals into that, and I'll just at some point maybe I'll look at them again before the end of the year. Maybe not. Who knows?
Are you gonna just pull a me? Just not look at your goals?
Am I gonna use my like YouTube and personal goals into the sun? Yes, probably. Just full stop. Yeeted right into the sun.
I should probably make a TBR spreadsheet because my TBR is extensive. Well, I have a TBR one for my Kindle. That should be something I work on.
That's gonna be in my month's spreadsheet. So
yeah, Izzy's doing a live show with her monster spreadsheet. Saturday, is it?
Saturday at 3 p.m. So I take a bunch of different people's reading spreadsheets and I combine them and have a whole thing. It's a lot. Yeah. Because I'm neurotic and I literally can't just take one thing and use it. No. I have to take all the things and make them work for me.
I'm excited to tune into your spreadsheet video, Izzy, but also I have found spreadsheets in the past that are giant monsters that go all the way out to like, XAB, like 57,000 columns.
No. This is just Tab City.
Yeah.
We have tabs for everything. Different sheets for it all. It's fine. Not none of my spreadsheets.
That's why it's a monster.
I have sort of a simplified spreadsheet for me personally, and I use Goodreads a lot. But I'm going to try to be better this year about Goodreads. And I also started a little journal. So I'm going to just try to do that. And that's my goal. But in the past, I've always used just the super simple spreadsheet and Goodreads. So
there's nothing wrong with that. I am just neurotic. Again, neurotic.
I like spreadsheets. I love math. I love figuring that stuff out. But I hate actually filling it out. Like when I get out there and it's like, which publisher is this? I'm like, I don't care.
Well, you're literally going to have to follow along with me if you want the spreadsheet. I'm not sharing it, guys. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sure.
So you'll have to follow along and make your own. I've already started filling it out. I can't just I don't know. Maybe I can. I'll see what I can do.
Make a copy and clear the data.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely
There's
hate
parts of it I
spreadsheets
can't share though.
I don't want to be a part of that. I hate spreadsheets and math. I have a notebook and I have lists and I write down the books I read, what rating they are, and that's all I do. And I have Goodreads. I cannot spreadsheet to save my life. Even you guys create a Google form and I'm like, how how I do that without messing it up.
Like
so no,
this is an example of like
Crystal, if you want to
keeping
Google
track of
form,
what I read in a month. So
DM me.
this is
Crystal.
last
I'll
year.
make it
So I had like the title of the book and what I rated it. And in my 2021 journal, it's in the other room. Otherwise, I'd go grab it. I added a column for review, so I know that when I've written the review, so I don't lose track.
that's smart.
And I'm losing things. Oh no!
Izzy, did you say I can DM you for spreadsheet help? Is that what you said?
And forms. Just message me. You're
Forms,
fine.
okay.
You're fine. Just message me. It's fine. If you know me personally, you can message me. I'll get to you when I can. I'm not your spreadsheet wizard, though. No.
Google
I
is
work
my
for
spreadsheet.
the spreadsheet.
That, like,
So if I have
stresses
questions,
me
I'll
out
just
so
do it when
much.
he's home.
Yeah, I
This
love that,
comment,
but I'm weird. Oh,
this
Notion.
comment about Notion. I just saw somebody else's video the other day. I can't remember whose it was. If I remember, I'll post it somewhere. But they were basically like, "Yeah, I use Notion," and I was like, "I've never even heard of this." And then when they were
haven't
showing
either.
a screen capture, I was like, "Oh."
I
So
hate
I
Notion.
might be starting Notion too. So
I hate Notion.
I've never
Absolutely hate
heard of it
I
until
despise
this
it.
moment.
Yeah, I've heard a few
I've
people
never
mention it.
A weird digital bullet journal space, and you can have like all these extra little database. It's basically databases. That's all you're making. You're making yourself database. I'm going to be a nerd here. You're making databases basically of information, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think the amount of work you have to do to put all this shit in it is not worth it.
oh.
I've tried and tried and tried to use it. I was just like, no, doesn't work for me. But I think it could work for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it will work for people. I was going to say a lot of people have started using StoryGraph. I tried. I kept trying to import my Goodreads data, and I think I tried to import that when it first started, and it still hasn't
now it'll do it pretty quickly.
Okay. I'll have to give it another shot.
And then they'll email you when it's done. It took a couple hours. I deleted my data and re-imported.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, I don't like. For me, Notion is like I would rather do that in my digital bullet journal or somewhere else.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, both Izzy and Tamika's and Bree from 11 Words digital bullet journal, reading journal stuff. I just am like, maybe I've gotten an iPad for Christmas.
It's fun.
I don't have.
I just need to dig my iPad out and
yeah,
try.
and yeah,
Yeah, no, I've only been doing it for a month after Izzy and Tamika's videos, and I kind of adore it a lot.
It's my
It's
favorite.
yeah. That's the
I'm
thing.
totally looking up with it.
Well, when I keep
yeah.
handwritten, I always enjoy the handwriting part, but then I always like wish I could just put a cover in, or wish I could just like link to something, and you can't do that when it's a journal that you're writing in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a digital journal would be like that perfect mesh.
Unless you have a photo printer like me, and then I just
Yeah, I
print
do
it
have
out
a
and
photo
glue it in.
Yeah.
I do that too, Shay.
I do
Yeah.
the same thing, but like when you read after a certain amount of books, like it's too many photos to print.
Yeah.
And
That's why I
then
just
I'm
do it
putting on
as I
regular
go.
paper and like cutting. I'm like, y'all know I'm lazy.
I guess that's one thing I'm doing different this year is I have a book
Yeah.
aesthetic journal. So I just kind of take images that embody what I felt as I read it and kind of put those together. And then I have a little envelope where I can put like my actual thoughts about the book in it. So that's fun this year.
The one thing that I've really liked about the digital bullet journal, aside from putting in the covers and doing the writing and tracking it visually, because I'm a very visual person, is any of the reading challenge bingo boards or reading challenge prompt boards, I can throw them in there and then I can write all over them. And I don't have to worry about printing. I can just do it straight away, because if I'm left to print it, chances are I will forget to print it until some later date. And I'm like, do I really want to go back and do that? So that's been really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, aside from that, I'm just what else do I use? Because I've got my spreadsheet, I've got the digital bullet journal, and for notes for any booktube videos, I put all of that into Evernote, and I have for ages just so I can sync everything up.
Yeah.
Later on. All right. What else do we have? Oh, were any of your goals this year inspired by other content creators on any platform?
Using the spreadsheet was inspired by Izzy. Other than that, I'm doing the same thing I did last year for the most part. So
I found out about the Google Form method, which is honestly my recommendation for anybody now who wants to try tracking their reading this year, because it's actually probably the easiest way. It automatically builds your graphs and charts for you. You don't do any formulas. You can just like look at your responses and it will split them up. So like mine already show like the book I've read and that it had LGBTQ rep, etc. Like it just automatically does that from the prompts you supply. So I found that out from Danny at Black Chicklet, who's a podcast, and it blew my mind, y'all. Like it blew my mind. I was like, you're telling me I don't have to sit here and enter everything manually into the spreadsheet. I can feed my form response into that and have it populate 99% of what I need. Done. And I can do it from my phone instead of like trying to do Google Sheets on your phone, which is impossible.
Yeah.
So I was ecstatic. Ooh, a manga art journal. I like this.
That sounds so cool,
Awesome.
Megan.
Like you have no idea how much
I'm.
I'm squealing inside right now. Like, you better
We need
show
to do
me
a video of
something.
that.
Yeah. Yes. I was going to say, we need a video of that. Yes.
My reading journal idea came from Shay, so yay, Shay.
Like really what I track in my reading journal is really like simple. Like I don't track anything overly complicated. I track the basics there.
Oh, it's like I was telling you today. I was like, I just love seeing your videos because it's simple. Like I feel like when I watch your bullet journal videos, I don't walk away going, I can't do this. Which is like 99% of the journal videos I watch. I'm like, I can't do this. Y'all think I can
Or you walk away going, I need to buy this thing and this thing to make it look really pretty. Like,
yes.
you don't need that.
Whereas Shay's,
don't
I'm
need
like,
any of
oh, I own this stuff. I can just do this.
Like my January setup, I used Crayola Super Tips and a gel pen. Like I used cheap stuff.
Yeah.
You could totally do it yourself. And then my husband gave me the stickers. I think the pack of stickers was like $6 or $7 on Amazon. It was
you
a
don't
stocking
have those
order.
anymore. Now you have super tips.
Don't knock the Crayola markers. They work
I
perfectly
love
fine.
Crayola Super Tips. Are you
Right.
kidding? I bought them for myself. I wanted Crayola Super
I love my
Tips.
Talos, but if I
I've got a
didn't have
giant
them,
packet somewhere over there.
I'd have bought those instead.
I like my Tombos too. Don't get me wrong. They have a time and a place in my journal. Don't get me wrong. But man, I am really loving my super tips right now. So like my whole yearly setup was super tips. And then my January setup was
There's
super
more
tips.
colors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like to an extent. So
Well, when I started my reading journal, I really went all out.
yeah,
It was $1 at the grocery store. I was like, yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Hey, whatever works for you. Like that's all that matters. That's the thing with journaling that gets so skewed because of like the online presence and all the people who like have all this extra money from what they do on YouTube because they have millions of subscribers or whatever. Like they're spending a fortune on their supplies when Joe Schmo over here is buying Crayola Super Tips in a 20 pack so that I have a variety of colors. And what I do sometimes is just as pretty as what they do. So it's all about perspective and just coming back to what works for you, not necessarily what works for them. Because man, like some of them spend like all day doing their spreads where I'm like, I'll sit down for an hour and if I'm not done, I'll put it away for the day and come back another day. Like that's what I do.
Some of these people make these journals and don't use them. I'm not joking. They literally draw out these beautiful spreads and they make fake plans to do the video. And then their regular bullet journal is just a mess of lists and crap. Like, I'm not joking. Like, this is the thing. Like, they're literally
it's content.
Yeah, it's just their content. So, like, also keep that in mind. I have to remind myself of that constantly. I'm like, wait a minute.
Very much use my journal.
Is this being used? I don't think it's being used.
Yeah. As a reformed planner decorator, I'll use that term. Like there's parts of it that I really liked because it was a creative outlet and I got to have fun with it. And to some extent, I still like that. And you know, I've got one little journal this year, and that's pretty much like I'm throwing stickers in there, but mostly it's lists and things that's actually useful for me because I don't need everything else anymore. I still have all the stuff, and I bought tons of stuff when I was doing it. And this was like, when was the last time I did it? Probably like 3 years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. Was the last time I was filming videos, and it just becomes overwhelming as well. And you just need something that's going to work for you, especially if you use it to track things as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've really been able to hone for myself. I mean, I just have a page that's pretty much blank where I write down my TBR and what I plan on reading for the month. And then I have my releases on my radar. So I just have a place where I can put that list. And I have a page where I track when I'm reading digitally and physically, if I'm reading every day or not, kind of a thing. Like what I track is so simple. And, and then my little balance book sheet, I don't even know what to call that thing. It's like a bank balance book, but I do books with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll come up with a name eventually.
That's a great idea.
So, I just like make it different colors so the lines stand out a little bit. And, it just makes it simple and easy for me to find what I need.
Yeah. And it's funny because the digital book or the digital journal that I bought for GoodNotes, just something off Etsy, it came with all of these extra calendars and planners and things to track things. And what I found was that I was able to go, okay, well, you know what, this calendar, this quarterly overview, I'm just going to write down all the readathons that might be happening. And this one, I'm going to put down my schedule for my videos so that I know what's coming up. So I've actually been able to break it down that way. So it's all in one spot. And I'm actually making use of the space that's there rather than just leaving it blank. But it's also not in full view and it's not in my personal diary and calendar because I don't need to see it there. I just need it where I'm doing my book content. Mm-hmm. But that's working for
Practical.
me. Yeah. The one thing that I suppose I pulled over into my spreadsheet this year was the tropes and keywords and things like that because and also the trigger warnings, which I put in there just to type in because I think I've said before, I'm not very many things trigger me. So sometimes I'm not as cognizant as other people and I want to be more aware of that. So I'm trying to make notes.
Yeah, I'm not easily triggered with most things, but there are certain things that definitely trigger me. Like there was a really popular hyped book that I got 40 pages into and I was so triggered I couldn't finish it. So
yeah, I added couple names to my spreadsheet this year because I always forget them. And then I added tropes as well. And then the content warnings. I'm trying to do content warnings as soon as I finish the book onto my Goodreads review. So that way it's just there. So when I go to talk about the book again, I'm quickly able to be like, oh yeah, there was this thing in here.
Yeah.
Smart.
All right. Did you guys have any other questions? I've got a question that's about sort of wrapping up and thinking about things that you achieved last year that you were really proud of. But were there any other questions that you guys had around goal setting or things that you wanted to talk about?
No.
All right. So my question was...
I think you covered the gambit with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of things. So what's a goal or an achievement from 2020 that you're really proud of? I mean, it can be book related, but it doesn't have to be because last year was a year of many things.
So for me, posting my reading journal content every month, that was something I really wanted to do last year, and I definitely succeeded at that. Requesting ARGs, I got a lot better at that. I need to be better at like getting a press kit together to actually request from publishers, not just from NetGalley. So I get more physical galleys of things that I'm interested in. Posting my monthly TBRs because I hadn't been for almost 2 years. And then I got back in that habit because I feel like it makes me more accountable to the books that I physically own. I was really a lot better about rereading last year. And that's something that I really found that I loved that I'm planning on continuing into this year. And then posting 3 videos a week. Those are my big like accomplishments from my goals last year. The rest kind of went out the window.
So for me, it was definitely the consistency. Like my big goal in 2020 was consistency with my content. And I posted for a while, it was 2 times a week. And then I think in August or September, was it September, Tamika? Yeah. I went 3 times a week because I launched weekly blogs. And like, that was a really fun thing to add into my rotation. And I've stuck with it. This Thursday will be my first day off, but I just uploaded like a huge chunk of content beforehand from doing the weekly blogs in a while. And then I think the other one for me would be just like, oh no, it left my brain. Never mind. Never mind. I don't know. It left my brain. So it's gone.
And that's it.
Yep. It's just it literally flitted out of my brain as soon as I couldn't think of the date. But yeah, that was a big one for me. It was consistency. That's something I like to hold myself accountable to, and I don't always. So to do it is always nice.
I survived.
Yeah.
No, starting in I want to say it was August. In August, I started posting at least 2 videos a week. And then I did like the massive uploads in October and then the 12 days in December. So consistency was the one that I was the most proud of because I was posting at least 2 times a week from August until now.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
I feel like consistency with content is the hardest thing.
What about you, Laura?
My goal when I started my channel was to like continue it. So it's for me, like every month that I make it is like kind of amazing to me. I have a history in my whole life of being like, this is so cool. And then like 3 months later being like, meh. So I'm kind of pleased with myself that I've stuck it out.
That's
for
great.
Summer.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have 2 things that I'm super proud of, and I think probably, well, the one that was the catalyst for the other is, so I have always really struggled with trying to be a people pleaser and trying to make sure that I was doing things that I felt like were like acceptable or whatever. Like I really, like that's been a big thing for all of my life. And then last year, I just finally let go of that and just stopped caring about that. And the biggest the biggest influence that has as far as books goes is that I stopped being a closet romance reader. Like I stopped hiding that or not rating them or, like, so I proudly read them. I proudly talk about them. I talk about them not just on Bookstagram or BookTube, like I talk about them on all of my other, social media. So that was a huge one. And that led me to starting a BookTube channel, which I had wanted to do for like 3 years. And I never had the courage to do it. So I started the channel. I figured out how to edit. I figured out more about cameras and how to use a camera. So like, I honestly am almost near tears because those were just such a huge, huge deal for me. And I'm very proud of myself for that.
Those are
You
such
should
good
be.
ones though. Like it's so
You're
hard.
amazing.
Like starting a channel, like both Laura and Crystal, you guys started channels this year. Like it's scary. Like, let me tell you. And when I started my channel, like there was like 4 of us talking about romance, I think, maybe 5 people. And that was 3 years ago. But like, I wasn't doing it well or in any capacity to even like get out there. And like, now we have this like huge rush of like newbies coming in and like the best way. And like,
I finally stopped being afraid of my romance reading self and found other.
And I mean, that was why I
people
made
is
the
what happened.
Discord, was like to make sure that people had places to connect because we don't have to be
I
like,
think where we live is part of why we're closet romance readers. We live in a very conservative state with very conservative people who have this idea in their head that all romance novels is porn, and that's all it is. And it's very much so much more than that, and really not that in so many ways. But it's really just taking away like the filter of where we live. Like has been really freeing for me.
Really, honestly.
Oh, I'm sure it is for you as well.
And I think I like Izzy, how she said about the romance tuber Discord, like that was huge for me when I found that.
I was honestly afraid to join the Discord because I was afraid y'all would like exile me because of my manga.
No, that has been the
like
best.
I wanted a place like anyone could come. Like that was the biggest thing is I feel like when I first watched BookTube, I'm sure I know Tamika's watched BookTube for a long time. Like there's this space of like you feel like romance isn't accepted on YouTube in a weird way.
Yeah, for sure.
This year, like I said, I feel like that's totally changed, like shifted in a very like wonderful way. But it was like I could find Steph, I could find Jess. Chandler, I guess, sometimes had romance content. Riley sometimes, and then I think Jen was making videos when I started, but like I don't know if she's doing romance yet or not. I'm not sure when she shifted, but like it was hard. Like I was really like, who the hell is out here talking about romance? Because I want to watch their channel, and there was no one.
Yeah.
Well, like I've been reviewing for Forever Romance for a little while. They found me through Instagram and reached out, and so I've been reviewing for them for a couple years, but like I still wasn't really outside of my review copies for them. I was still reading romance, but not talking about it. So like I kind of took away my own filter and started talking about it more and more and more because most of the manga that I read is romance centered. So I knew it had a place on my channel because my channel was still growing with
like
my romance.
I wouldn't rate it on Goodreads. Like
Yeah.
it was something like nobody could know. And
No
now this year I'm like,
shame. No
F it,
shame.
I don't
guys.
care.
And that's something that
Judge me however you want.
about a year and a half ago, I really kind of pulled away that shame filter that our state gives us and just started reading what I wanted to read. And people can think whatever they want about me. I know where I'm at with my marriage, with God, all that kind of stuff. Like people can think whatever they want about me. I know where I'm at, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Jen. I was like, I think you weren't really like talking about the same books as you did. Yeah, it does. I think it does. I'm really proud of the community this year. I feel like we've created what everybody wants to say BookTube is in the romance community.
Oh,
I
I completely agree.
I totally
People say
agree.
books
It feels
is
like
very
such a
inclusive,
safe,
and that's a big fat lie. It is so
place.
full of clicks. It's not even funny. I've been in it for a long time, so
Yeah, but then if you
Oh,
see
yeah.
the right groups, like certain groups within BookTube are very open and welcoming, and I just found that here, and it makes me so happy. Sorry, tangent. I do romance shame.
It was a gushy tangent. It's all good.
Makes me
But
angry.
I am proud of Crystal. I hope she is proud of me because we took away our shame filters that Utah likes to give.
I'm so proud of you. I feel like Shay and I really bonded over that.
Yeah, growing up in Utah, like you are like raised with this shame of anything that is outside of Mormon culture. And so it's a really big deal for me and Crystal to sit here and proudly on the internet talk about romance books, let alone romance books that include full-blown sex scenes.
The horrors. I know. I live in the South. I know. I get it. Like it's not the same, but it's similar, so I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got your own type of conservatives down there.
Yeah. It's different and the same all at the same time. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I had on my list. So I suppose before we go, is there anything that you want to plug? Because I know Charles was asking before for us to plug the Side Changeling and the Immortals After Dark readathons. So
there you go, Charles. There's your plugs.
So Izzy and Charles are hosting the Immortals After Dark readathon. I'm helping to co-host the Side Changeling one. I'm really excited. I'm about to start in on February's books for that one, since I'd already reread January's books last year. What about anyone else?
Stay tuned for next week for an announcement from me. So, and then channel memberships went up today, so that was really fun.
I was
I
just
will
going to
leave
say that if you didn't say that.
I know. I was about to be like, Shay, you better say it because there are
I like it.
people in romance.
It's a totally optional thing. Like my content on my channel isn't going to change. If you want the bonus stuff and you want the cat reels and the husband reel, you got to be a member. It's a little personal, so we're moving it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will put, well, I do have everyone's channels linked down below, but I might also link if you guys have goals videos or if there's anything else that you want linked, I'll pop it in there. And I'm also going to link to Izzy's live stream for Saturday as well. So if anyone needs to find it, they can.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Come join me. Watch me make my spreadsheet beast. I feel like everyone's gonna be in the chat like, you. Why are you doing this? It's fun.
Well, you know what, I think people find it really interesting to watch. Like, I mean, I find it really interesting.
I cannot help myself. It's the ADHD brain. I'm like, I have to do it all. I have to have it all. I have to condense.
See,
You look like a nerd.
Oh, I am a nerd. It's fine.
We're all nerds.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
All of us with our glasses here. Yeah,
it's fine. Trust me. You know.
That was a
you know,
D&D
Izzy loves
reference,
numbers.
so
She's
I feel
married
like
to an accountant, so that had to get in here somewhere.
Exactly.
That is it. My new life mission is for everyone to now refer to the fact that you are married to an accountant, and that's all you always have to do at the time.
What are you going to do when his job is no longer in accounting?
It's not stopping. I'm establishing it now while he's an accountant.
All right.
You made the mistake of showing me the TikTok.
He's not that kind of accountant.
I don't think I want to know.
TikTok, if you have an OnlyFans, you're an accountant.
Okay.
So I think it's funny when I have to be like, oh yeah, he's an accountant. And then now I'm like, okay, how old are you? And are you on TikTok? And are you on the TikTok that gets OnlyFans content? Like, where he's not making money. Because then I need to clarify that he's not that kind of accountant. He's an actual accountant. Because nobody asks questions when you're an accountant. Because they don't want to talk. They're like, no.
You don't want to talk numbers.
He doesn't talk about math, guys. It's fine.
All right. Well, thank you to you guys for joining in the live stream, and thank you for everyone who stuck around in the chat and joined in the conversation. It's been good to talk about goals and goal setting. I like talking about this stuff.
I do too.
It's really interesting to hear about other people's process. So I hope that everyone has a well, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, a good night, and if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, a good afternoon. And we'll see you next time.
Bye,
everyone.